Hi everyone, take like 5,000 trying to do this video using a triple screen, woohoo! All right, so today we're going to learn about some quantities called scalar and vector. What's a quantity? It's basically anything you can measure in physics. Distance, speed, acceleration, time, temperatures, okay? All right, and basically we're also going to focus on basically just two words, distance and displacement, and learn about them. All right. All right, so first thing, in physics, we love to categorize everything, and it's basically whether we can draw it on paper using an arrow. And if we can do it, we call it a vector. I kind of like to think of this V as like reminding me kind of like points like an arrow, and then I like to think of scalar as like scanty, not much information involved. All right. All right, so all these quantities that we measure, we categorize into. Don't get too hung up on them. They're just fun to know and useful for later and higher thinking. All right, so scalar is basically if you can't really draw an arrow to show its measurement, we throw it into this category. Like time, point to time, just kind of moves forward. Speed, you think, well, I kind of know speed. You go that way really fast, that's speed. Well, that's actually scanty information, so that kind of falls into that scalar category. Distance, you think, well, we're going to be working up like that one. So distance and displacement, spoiler alert, displacement's a fancy word, so that's going to go into the vector categories. All right, so I'm going to get into the difference between distance and displacement. Okay, woohoo! Next one. Okay, just keep clicking buttons until they work. Come on! There we go. All right, vector, a quantity with direction. So if we can draw an arrow, it's going to be a vector. All right. Oh, I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't worry. Just getting the vocabulary down. All right. So let's do something we've been doing since like kindergarten. Measure a distance, or I could go over there. So you walk that distance. So and then now I'm giving you the displacement, and most people use those words interchangeably, but not you guys anymore. You're going to know the difference between displacement and distance and displacement. Okay, here we go. I thought those were the same, but they're not. Let's be very specific, because that's what we like to do in physics, make things more complicated. So eventually they're easier in the long run. All right, so I drove 25 miles. Scanty information. I drove 25 miles east. Now that's information for you. Okay, so scalar, scanty information. Now we say that's the quantity, fancy word for measurement, of distance. Now, east, that's more information. That's the fancy vector word. I can show you exactly where I went 25 miles. I went that way for 25 miles. Okay. I don't know where my cursor is. All right. Recap. Scalar, no specific directions. I could go 25 miles all over the place. Vector, I go 25 miles in one direction. And I hope there's no curvy roads ahead. Okay. Now, more details on the difference between these two similars. Now, you've got to pay attention. This is the important stuff, how to actually do the math with these problems. So if I ask you to do distance, it's going to add everything up. If I ask you to do displacement, you're going to make one arrow from here to here and measure. What the heck are you talking about? Seeing is believing, folks. Here we go. So if I ask you what the distance is between A and B, or what you traveled, I started A and I counted up all these little blocky rows and added all that up. That's distance. But if I asked you displacement, you only have one arrow you can draw. So you start from A and you go to B. Displacement is easy. I went way too fast over that one. All right, so now you can kind of figure out distance will take you a long time. Displacement, you only want one block. Kind of did that. Spoiler alert. You can have a worksheet on that one. Thanks, Mrs. Nagle. All right, so here we go. Almost a few seconds left. I walked 3 blocks south, 4 blocks east, 3 blocks north. What's my distance? Add those up. Bam, 3 plus 4 plus 3, 10 blocks. Okay, now my resultant displacement, just really, you got to kind of picture it, south, east,